Ever get that feeling? You know, like when you're just staring at something simple, but it just like makes your brain feel like it's trying to solve a cosmic riddle?
Mm-hmm.
Well, today we're tackling one of those head scratchers,
Okay.
the Collatz conjecture.
Yeah, the Mount Everest of unsolved math problems, some might say.
And get this, our source material is this YouTube video where the creator dives into this notoriously tricky problem, but with a really interesting twist. They bring in game theory to try to tackle it. But before we get to the strategic alliances of numbers, maybe we should lay down some of the basics for people who might not be familiar.
Yeah, the beauty of the Collatz conjecture really does lie in its simplicity.
Yeah.
You can imagine any number. Pick your favorite one. It truly doesn't matter. If it's even, you divide it by 2. If it's odd, you multiply it by 3 and add 1.
Oh, okay.
And then you keep repeating those steps.
Okay. Sounds easy enough so far.
Right.
So what's the catch?
Well, the catch is that mathematicians have been trying to prove that no matter what number you start with, you'll always eventually end up in this loop of 4, 2, and 1.
Okay.
And no one's been able to prove it yet.
So they think that no matter what number you start with, you're always going to end up in that loop.
That's right.
But they haven't been able to prove it.
Exactly.
Okay.
What makes this conjecture so captivating is that it touches upon some really fundamental questions about patterns and predictability in mathematics. You see, while the rules are simple, the way numbers behave using these rules gets surprisingly chaotic.
Chaotic? Tell me more about that.
Well, it's like predicting the weather.
Okay.
You have the basic rules, laws of physics, but even with those rules, pinpointing exactly what's going to happen is notoriously difficult.
Right.
And so the Collatz conjecture exhibits a very similar kind of unpredictability.
Okay.
And this is where this idea of chaos theory comes in.
Yeah.
The study of systems where tiny changes in initial conditions can lead to vastly different outcomes.
So you're saying a slight change in the starting number can dramatically alter the path it takes to hopefully reach that 4-2-1 loop.
Precisely.
Okay.
It's like those choose-your-own-adventure books.
Right.
Where one decision branches out into a completely different story.
Yeah.
And it gets even wilder.
Yeah.
Some numbers seem to go on these epic journeys, taking hundreds of steps before they finally fall into that loop.
Wow. And we haven't even gotten to the game theory part yet. That's so interesting. So I really like how the video creator uses this really fascinating quote from the mathematician Paul Erdem.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, mathematics is not yet ripe enough for such questions.
Right.
And I thought that was fascinating because he seemed to be suggesting that we need completely new mathematical tools.
Yeah.
A new way of thinking in order to crack this code.
Essentially, he was hinting that our current way of understanding mathematics might just not be enough to tackle this problem.
Okay, and that's where this whole game theory angle comes in, right?
Yeah.
It's like bringing in a secret weapon to solve this seemingly impossible puzzle.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
Yeah.
So the creator's suggesting that maybe, just maybe, the key lies in shifting our perspective. They argue that we need to stop looking at the Collatz conjecture from our limited human point of view.
Okay.
And instead adopt a more universal one.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued, but I'm also a little lost.
Sure.
What does a universal perspective even look like in the world of numbers?
Yeah, that's a great question. Think of it this way. We as humans experience the universe in a very specific way. We have our scales of measurement, our concepts of time and space.
Yeah.
We even have our base 10 number system, which is ultimately arbitrary.
Right.
So what if instead of trying to fit the Collatz conjecture into our existing framework, we try to understand it from the universe's point of view?
So like trying to see the problem through the eyes of the universe itself.
Exactly.
Okay.
And now this is where the creator brings in game theory.
Okay.
And they highlight that game theory is all about understanding perspectives.
Okay.
The different players, their strategies, the rules of the game. And maybe, just maybe, they suggest the universe is playing a game with different rules than we're used to.
Now, that's a mind-bending thought.
Right.
So instead of just crunching numbers, we need to figure out the rules of the universe's game.
It's a possibility.
I have to say, this is way more interesting than those math classes I barely passed in high school.
And this is where it gets really interesting. The video creator points out that our current mathematical system might be like trying to understand a high-definition movie by looking at just one pixel.
Wow.
We need to kind of zoom out.
Yeah.
and see the bigger picture.
Okay, I'm starting to see where they're going with this. It's like we're so focused on these individual numbers that we're missing some grand cosmic pattern.
Exactly. And to illustrate this, they bring up the singularity.
Oh,
That moment right before the Big Bang?
right.
Where all of existence was condensed into this infinitely dense point.
Right.
And imagine trying to apply our everyday understanding of numbers to that kind of environment.
Right.
It doesn't quite work, does it?
It's like trying to use a ruler to measure the distance between galaxies. Like the tool just isn't designed for that scale.
That's a great analogy.
Right.
And so the creators suggest that maybe, just maybe,
okay,
the singularity operates on a completely different set of mathematical rules. A system that's more in tune with the fundamental fabric of the universe.
So they're not saying that our math is wrong, just
Right.
incomplete, like we've only scratched the surface of what's out there.
Precisely.
Okay.
And who knows, maybe by understanding the mathematical language of the singularity,
Yeah.
we could unlock the secrets to the Collatz conjecture
Oh, wow.
and other unsolved mysteries that have baffled mathematicians for centuries.
Yeah.
It's a bold claim, but it certainly gets you thinking, doesn't it?
It definitely does. But let's be real. Wouldn't it be like the biggest plot twist in the history of math if a YouTube video casually solved a problem that stumped geniuses for almost a century?
Well, while the video creator's approach is fascinating and incredibly thought-provoking,
Yeah.
it's important to remember that in the world of mathematics,
Yeah.
proof is king.
Right. You can't just declare a problem solved without going through that whole rigorous step-by-step process.
Exactly. A valid mathematical proof
Right.
requires building a logical argument based on established axioms and theorems.
Right.
And it often takes years, even decades, for the mathematical community to scrutinize and accept a new proof.
Mm-hmm.
So while this video might not have all the answers,
Right.
it does something I think equally important. It reminds us that even in a field as seemingly rigid as mathematics,
Right.
there's always room for audacious thinking,
Yeah.
for questioning assumptions, and for looking at problems from radically different perspectives.
It's like that saying, sometimes you need to break the rules to make something truly groundbreaking.
Exactly.
Oh.
And I think that's a valuable takeaway for anyone,
Yeah.
regardless of their mathematical background. The Collatz conjecture, as presented in this video, goes beyond just numbers and equations.
Yeah.
It's a testament to the power of curiosity, creativity, and the importance of challenging our own preconceived notions.
Yeah, I love that. But this whole discussion has me wondering, what if we applied this shifting perspective idea to other fields?
Sure.
Could there be other areas of knowledge where we're so stuck in our ways of thinking that we're completely missing out on revolutionary discoveries?
Now, that's a question worth pondering. Imagine the possibilities if we could borrow concepts from fields like game theory, computer science, even art,
Yeah.
and apply them to challenges in physics, economics, medicine.
Yeah.
I mean, the possibilities are really endless.
It's like using a painter's palette to create a musical masterpiece,
Yeah.
like blending these different disciplines to create something
Right.
truly unique and different.
And perhaps the most mind-boggling question this video indirectly raises is this.
Okay.
Could there be alternative mathematical systems out there?
Okay.
Entirely different ways of understanding the universe that we haven't even begun to imagine.
Whoa, that's getting pretty existential. Like,
Yeah.
what if our entire understanding of reality is just one tiny chapter
Right.
in a much larger book? It's like we're living in this world that's only black and white, and then someone comes along and shows us a glimpse of color.
And the really exciting thing is we're just beginning to explore these possibilities.
All right.
Think about the incredible advancements in mathematics
Yeah.
just in the last century.
Mm-hmm.
Things that would have seemed like science fiction
Right.
before that.
Yeah.
Who knows what kind of mathematical revolutions the next century holds?
Yeah, it's both humbling and incredibly inspiring, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from this deep dive,
Yeah.
it's this. Never underestimate the power of curiosity.
Okay.
It's what drives us to ask those what-if questions,
Right.
to explore the unknown, and to push the boundaries of human knowledge.
Because who knows, maybe the next big breakthrough will come from someone watching a YouTube video and asking themselves, what if the universe plays by different rules?
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, that someone will be...
Well, I don't know about solving the Collatz conjecture, but This deep dive has definitely left me with a lot to think about.
It's a fascinating topic.
It is. A big thank you to our expert for joining us on this mind-bending adventure.
The pleasure was all mine.
And to you, our listeners, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep those brains buzzing. We'll catch you on the next deep dive, where we'll be tackling another fascinating topic that's sure to make you see the world a little differently.